with the car seat for their children.
Certainly be open to that.
Thank you. Senator Welch.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and I do agree with you. First of all, I fly a lot like all of us do. Burlington Airport is great, and I don't know how the flight attendants, the personnel there manage to keep smiling when all of us passengers are anxious and driving them crazy, but they do. It's really a tribute to the folks that are on the front lines and the baggage handlers. You know, when it's really cold, they're outside hauling the bags, and then they have to come inside to get the gate checks, and it's cold, it's warm, it's cold. So I just want to start out by expressing gratitude to the folks at the Burlington International Airport that work for the airlines and the baggage handlers and all those TSA folks that put up with anxious travelers.
On behalf of all of my colleagues, thank you so much.
You guys are amazing. There are issues, though, that we saw with Southwest, where there's corporate decisions that are driven by shareholder value. The airlines probably do their best to train. They nickel and dime a lot of times on staffing and on pay. And then the floor falls out from underneath, and the passengers are left without any help. And I can't imagine what the pressure is on the frontline folks in a situation like what happened with Southwest. So it really does suggest that there has to be active consumer protection, and we have to rely on the government more than we rely on the individual airlines to, at the bottom line, do the right thing. It's why I think Senator Markey's cash refund bill really makes a lot of sense. Why shouldn't it be the decision of the passenger as opposed to the convenience of the airline to determine whether they want cash back? You know, and a lot of folks, when they fly, it's not like us. We fly all the time, but they're like going to a funeral. They're going to a wedding. They're going for a long postponed trip to see their brothers and sisters. So maybe I'll just ask Dr. Moss, any reason why there can't be cash refunds as a matter of policy at the discretion of the passenger as opposed to the convenience of the airline?
Thank you, Senator Welch. That's a great question. I see no reason why that policy should not be proposed. I would point out that what we've been talking about at this hearing today really breaks down into issues that fall solidly in the consumer protection bucket, safety, the well-being of passengers, issues that fall solidly in the competition bucket, which is competition on price and quality and innovation in the airline industry.
Right. And that goes, of course, to the merger question.
Of course. And then we have issues that fall at the intersection of consumer protection and competition. And those would be things like, well, if you have more competition, then you have more pressure on airlines to not engage in drip pricing when consumers get online to purchase their fares. So I think that's a really good framework to think about this in and frame legislative proposals and reforms.
Great. Let me ask Ms. Nelson, you know, one of the reasons the cash refunds I think are good, there's a lot of anxiety for a passenger when their plan is thwarted. And it's not the fault of the frontline people. But the more security, this is my view, and I'm asking your reaction, that family has who, it's a lot of money to buy an airline ticket, especially if it's for a family, the more security that family has that they'll get their money back. They may be disappointed that they can't go to that event. But do you think that would alleviate some of the pressure on the frontline folks dealing with, you know, really upset customers?
So it's always better when we have better customer service and people's problems are getting resolved. That's way better for the people on the front lines. But I do want to make clear that there is the ability for a passenger to choose to have a refundable ticket. And so we're talking about the non-refundable tickets.
At an expense.
Yeah, at an expense, that's right. And so we're talking about the non-refundable tickets that have been put into that segmentation of pricing that has also been talked about.
Well, you know, I want to go to that non-refundable ticket. You know, they have computers, they have algorithms, they game it. They know, you know, they got people with eye shades figuring all this out. I've never understood why they really need that non-refundable ticket other than it's a way they can extract more money, because they have the capacity with the computer programs to anticipate what sales they have to do by and large to get their full airplane. I don't know if you're the person to answer that, but maybe Dr. Moss is.
The answer is yes. So the non-refundable tickets are a pure exercise of market power. Because the airlines have market power and the ability to control how consumers behave in the airline system, they can absolutely impose those types of restrictions on them. We saw the disappearance of the non-refundable ticket during the pandemic. That's when demand fell off, when consumers were in the driver's seat and not the airlines.
And I'm at the end of my time, but I just want to thank the witnesses for talking on behalf of maintaining a service in our small airports. Thank you. I yield back. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Recognize Chairwoman Cantwell.
Thank you, Chair Duckworth, for doing this hearing. It's such an important list of witnesses. Thank you all for being here. Mr. Moyer, back to the